Who knew that an adorable girl such as Rafaela Silva, aka La Pluma, turned out to be a terrorist? Yes, I know she blew up a building, trapping Chen and Lin in Dosolus, but I'll let it pass because she has one of the best looking weapons in the game, which is the symbol of death itself. Anyway, La Pluma was introduced during my favorite anniversary event, Dosolus Holiday. At first, I thought nothing much of it, but after I used her for a few days, I was impressed. La Pluma might be just a 5-star operator, but she is built like a 6-star, plays like a 6-star, has a 6-star skin, and is cheaper and easier to get than a 6-star operator. In this video, let's take a deeper look at La Pluma's kit and see what makes her a good guard knight. La Pluma is the first 5-star Reaper guard, combining the self-healing of a Musha class and the ability to attack multiple enemies in her range from the Centurion class. Speaking of range, La Pluma has a 1x3 range similar to a spread shooter sniper. Additionally, each attack heals 50 HP up to a maximum of the block count. For example, if there are 3 enemies in La Pluma's range, each attack would heal 50 HP if she's Elite 1 and 100 HP if she's Elite 2 because her block count is 2. Looking at her stats, La Pluma's HP and attack is lower than Musha guards and Centurion guards, but she has a better defense than these two archetypes. In fact, the whole Reaper guard archetype has the best defense out of these 3. Combine that with her self-sustainable healing, La Pluma is clearly built for lane holding. La Pluma's talent is all about speed. After defeating an enemy, La Pluma gains 3 attack speed, which could stack up to 12 times at Elite 2, and in total, she would gain 36 attack speed. Since La Pluma's attack is AoE, it should be no problem for her to reach maximum stack in no time. As a consequence, the increased attack speed will improve her DPS and healing capabilities. You can see when La Pluma has maxed out her talent when there is a black aura that surrounds her. If 36 additional attack speed is not enough to heal La Pluma, you can always use Sculptor's trait, Perfumer's regeneration talent, or anyone that is not a medic as additional sources of healing. These guys, they synergize really well with La Pluma. The first skill, Rapid Slashing, is an auto-trigger skill that causes La Pluma to attack twice consecutively. With its low SP cost, this skill provides consistent damage output, which is perfect for AFK runs. I found this skill tends to work better with some IS-3 artifacts, for example, the Wrath of Syracusans, that applies additional 100% attack for 1 second after a skill is active. And so with skill 1 having instant activation, you will always get this buff every time it triggers, so La Pluma deals about 2400 damage with this artifact instead of the normal 1200 damage without it. Even without the artifact, skill 1 is pretty decent at taking down swarms of enemies and also works surprisingly well against mid-armored enemies with B rank defense. The only downside of skill 1 is the lack of control, as it is a deploy and forget type of skill, so I normally use skill 1 in IS-3 because it offers more flexibility, especially when I'm going in a stage blindly. Alright, before we move on to the second skill, why don't you give this video a like if you enjoyed so far. Let's push this video to the algorithm so many more can watch it. Alright, thanks! Skill 2 is called Reap. That's a terrifying name, and also a terrifying display of power. This burst skill grants La Pluma attack buff, and reduces her attack interval up to 0.5 seconds. Additionally, the attack buff is further increased if the enemy is below 50% HP, allowing La Pluma to clear swarms much faster and take on heavier enemies. This skill is absolutely crazy. Its sheer speed allows La Pluma to keep up her healing against hard-hitting attacks, and she becomes a delete button. That sounds like a chopping machine. Since skill 2 is manually activated, it's easier to time the buffs from other operators and elevate its damage to the next level. And La Pluma can take on even more dangerous enemies if done correctly. The one weakness of skill 2 is of course the long downtime. With 40 seconds cooldown and 25 seconds skill duration, skill 2 has an uptime of just 38%, so you do have to be strategic on when to use it. Could be worse though, but I think the benefit of this skill outweighs the drawback. Well, mastery time. Both of La Pluma's skills are really good. Both masteries have good benefits for their respective skill, and whichever you want to prioritize comes down to whether you prefer sustained DPS or burst DPS. I personally prioritize skill 2 for the added benefits of multiple attack buffs and the additional attack speed, and as I mentioned before, skill 2 has a great potential when it's paired with buffs from other operators. Finally, it's just satisfying to watch La Pluma sweep everything in sight, and the sound that this skill makes is very satisfying to hear. If only the downtime is lowered further at Mastery 3, that would make this skill even better. La Pluma's module has not been released yet in Global at the time of writing, but I highly recommend that you do get it once it is released, because each hit would heal 60 HP instead of 50. At level 3, the module also improves La Pluma's talent, giving her up to 8% additional attack buff when her talent is fully stacked. Thanks to her insane attack speed that is basically a death machine, La Pluma would have no problem reaching a full stack of her talent and obtaining the additional attack bonus. Ultimately, this module improves her lane holding capability and making her even more deadlier. So, what makes La Pluma a good guard knight? Really good DPS, a lot of speed, and strong self-sustaining potential. Using her incredibly high attack speed and strong attack buffs, La Pluma can easily wipe out a swarm of light to medium defense mobs. Add some buffs to her and she becomes a terrifying death machine who can take down even the Colossus. I'm not sure putting La Pluma in a 5-star rarity is correct, but that just makes her cheaper to invest. So, what do you think of La Pluma? Let me know in the comments below what you think of her, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!